couple things that I could guarantee. I'ma keep it trill, let's stack this money till I leave.
Heute hole ich mir Opa-Style mit Google Pixel. Seht euch das an. Ich habe einfach das Outfit eingekreist und Pixel hat den Look für mich gefunden. Mein eigener Vibe darf natürlich nicht fehlen. Was sagt ihr dazu? Gebt dein altes Phone in Zahlung. Jetzt im Google Store.
Welcome back to a series so hype, even GTA 6 subscribed. In today's video, Hassan is now begging people to stop calling him a radical and a terrorist. Despite being an open terrorist supporter, he's now watching Asmongold clips in his car outside and crying that Twitch won't ban him. Asmon has responded to the recent win by far-left candidates in New York and calls out Hassan for poisoning the party. A streamer is going viral for crashing out after someone called her a lady in a video game. Bruh. GTA 6 prices have been confirmed and people are not happy. Level 99 Warlock Asmongold has finally cleaned his bedroom after nearly 10 years. Dastardly. Hassan claims Asmon is psychosexually obsessed with him and continues his never-ending lie about Kaya and the shop caller.
He's just just stop.
Subscribe or you gotta enter Dan Clancy's Gooning Cave. No mortal has survived.
Let's up those numbers!
Now let's begin. Right, so Hassan is now begging people to stop calling him a radical and a terrorist. I wish they'd stop calling me a terrorist. I wish they'd stop calling me a radical. We just want healthcare.
I wish they'd stop calling me a terrorist. That's what I wish. I wish they'd stop calling me a radical. None of these people are radical. They just want healthcare. They want to end American militarism. They want to spend money on roads, on infrastructure, on schooling, on healthcare rather than bombs overseas, because it seems like for far too long, that's what our focus has been. And not the focus of the American people, but the focus of the American government has been in that direction. We have to put an end to our endless militarism, and we have to focus on ourselves, and we have to heal this nation and prepare it.
Classic bad faith Hassan back at it again. Notice how he never says what people actually call him, a terrorist supporter, because he knows that one is 100% factual, indisputable, captured on camera multiple times, multiple groups, doubles down every single time, literally says he would vote for the terrorists, defends them, says they're not racist, says they're consistently plays defense for them, does this sort of apologism. And I know this is going to be very hard for someone like Hassan to understand, but being a terrorist supporter is objectively being a radical. You lobotomite fucking moron. Like, this guy expects people to not call him what he actually is, a radical.
I believe what the Houthis are doing is a good thing. 10 toes fucking down.
Hezbollah is a paramilitary organization.
Do we like them or no?
I don't have an issue with them, let's just say.
He's read more books than you could ever imagine.
America deserved 9/11, dude. Fuck it, I'm saying it.
You would kill Rick Scott.
Yeah, kill them. Kill those motherfuckers and murder those motherfuckers in the street. Let the streets soak in their fucking red capitalist bloods, dude.
Yeah, guys, this guy's not a radical, by the way. So this clown says all of this heinous shit and then goes, I just want healthcare. I just want healthcare. Oh, brother, nobody is buying this shit, bro. Your loony cult's days are numbered. I know they got a whole brainwashing apparatus there, which is somehow funneling you new fans. But the fact of the matter is, the internet is free, okay? Internet is free, people can see the truth, and the more people that actually start realizing, wait a minute, I hadn't seen these clips about his son being a radical fucking loony, the more people that come across the legendary series can finally see the truth and exit the cult. Hassan himself admits he's a terrorism supporter. I was wondering which of the 50 clips you were going to link here. I don't have a problem with the Houthis. Yeah, because I don't. Yep, sounds like Hassan. I will never understand how any of these points he mentioned here considered controversial. Replies disabled. Obviously, the bastions of free speech are always disable their replies. Here's a thought. He's lying about it. He's literally lying about it. Stop calling me exactly what I openly support. Anyways, so the reason Hasan is so smug is that he's actually been getting some rare wins. It appears his preferred far-left socialist candidates are winning in the New York primaries. He posted this tweet, "What a freaking night. Please stop calling me a terrorist radical. Thanks." And he's posted a picture with all of these people who have clearly not watched the legendary series and are clearly, unfortunately, brainwashed here. And we got a couple more pictures. Anyways, he is very happy now after getting banned from the UK and constant non-stop L's. He needed to know that he actually does have a cult following. He does actually have people who believe in the same batshit crazy shit he does. Hasan feels himself and drops a warning to Richie Torres after a successful night for the DSA. This is the Democratic Socialists.
Hey, after tonight, my price went up. You have to be a democratic socialist if you want some of this fucking shine. Sorry. 3 for 3, baby. Not even 3 for 3. 9 for 10. Conrad is the only one who didn't make it. Conrad Blackburn is the only one that on the DSA slate that didn't make it, I think. Richie Torres, I know you won tonight. I didn't even look at your race. You probably won, you piece of shit. Remember, I was coming for you, but you got lucky this time. But I'll see you in 2. I'll see you in 2, motherfucker. I know you stopped talking shit. I know you stopped talking about Israel, Richie Torres. What happened?
Our amazing slate is going to Albany.
Still more work to be done, baby. Denver, we're coming for you. Melach Kiros, remember that name.
Yeah, I have no idea what he actually said there. He just looks drunk and actually happy for the first time, which is very rare for Mr. Piker. Usually it's a crash out. Today he's happy. I'm happy for him. Good job, Hasan. The reason this is amazing is because this will just make the next crash out even better because it's resetting the emotions now. He's getting baited into thinking that his radical agenda actually has a chance. Imagine being so happy that Dems won in New York. I've never seen someone like that talk so much shit after they won in red states like Texas. Well, I think the reason he's happy is that his preferred candidate, so it's like the far left as humanly possible, those are the people who are winning, as opposed to the more moderate left people. His sycophant fans worship him as a god. Take me, my lord, my flesh is yours. Oh yeah, we got this deranged clipper, the person who clipped the last 30 seconds of my 37-minute video saying that they won. Oh my god, he's cheesing like a mother flipper. This is gonna be such a freaking good stream. Socialism is here! Oh, brother. Anyways, turns out right before this, he was actually watching Asmongold clips in his car and crying that Twitch won't ban him. Bro, even when you're outside, you're watching Asmongold clips. He never talks about him, by the way. He insists that he never talks about Asmongold. Bro can't even go outside and enjoy a win without bringing up Asmon.
This is the core and center of his ideology. He will compromise LGBT rights by supporting the countries that will kill gay people. He will support wealth inequality by glazing China. I guess none of it really has to make sense when you're just satiating the appetite of hogs, right? You just kind of say things and people go, yes, you hate the guy that I've been trained to hate like a fucking bot. Thank you, Twitch. That's cool. You know, back in the day, there was a terms of service, and I'm glad that we no longer live. We've destroyed cancel culture. We've won, okay? God forbid you fucking show the manifesto as a part of your regular news coverage of you know, terrorist.
Yeah, of course. He just read the terrorist manifesto, guys. His chat was definitely not spamming hearts for the shooter with the special emote that is only in a Hasan chat. And he himself definitely doesn't support the terrorist either, surely. And this guy is still crying about bias on Twitch. Reminder, in Hasan's fucking alternate reality, Twitch is a right-wing, radical right-wing platform that allows Asmongold to exist.
Happy birthday to you.
What the fuck?
Happy birthday to you.
Bro, we're never beating the Hasan Runs Twitch allegations after this. This is crazy. Oh my God. Like, the most rabid Redditors just clip this and they're gonna use this permanently to be like, see, I told you, he's got banning powers.
Happy birthday, dear Hassan.
This is crazy.
Happy birthday to you.
Yep, looks like a bunch of Asmongold dick suckers right there, surely. Also, man, what are you doing? Just stop watching the clips, at least when you're outside, man. Also, dude, I love how much of a hypocrite he is, because remember when Ethan was like scrolling and he saw like a cringe Anissa post and Hassan proceeded to call him like a, you know, psycho, like a stalker, like, oh my God, he's obsessed. And here he is watching Asmongold in his car. I mean, actually pathetic. Right, so a chatter asked Hassan why he constantly downplays atrocities such as SA crimes. And his response is that he's an American. He's only focused on American issues, obviously.
Why won't you go over the Rupert Love report? Because there's more important things going on than rehashing 2013 era racialized scandals. Okay, buddy? Because I'm an American. I'm an American, okay?
America deserved 9/11, dude. Fuck it. I'm saying it.
I'm an American currently working on American elections. Why are you, most likely a fucking Euroid fascist who LARPs as a MAGA supporter, coming in here to be like, why won't you talk about the Rupert Love report? Because I'm not a fucking idiot, okay? Because I'm not a goddamn moron that gets scandalized by whatever the Elon Musk-backed algorithm is showing me.
There's no way this guy said, I'm focused on America. Buddy, your entire career is built on Israel. What the fuck are you talking about? Your entire audience is a single issue audience on Israel-Palestine. Mr. I care about American issues. What are you smoking, dude? That's like your last priority. American work in American elections. Crazy thing to focus on when there's a genocide going on. How could he? He says after having an LA mayor candidate on his show and exclusively asking her questions about Israel versus Palestine, like even in his like victory speeches here, he's like, when he was addressing that Richie Torres person, the first thing he talks about is Israel. Anyways, Asmon responds, explains why he thinks a lot of women resonate with Hassan, calls out the soundboard.
Every single time. It's so weird. He's downplaying it. He's 100% trying to downplay it. And this is the thing that I feel like a lot of the women, because there's a lot of women that watch Hassan, right? And he thinks like a woman a lot of times. He does. Thinks like a chick. And so I think that they watch him and they're like, yeah, that's so true. You're so right. You know, and that's it. And so that's it. I feel very disappointed. And this is the problem, is that he will make excuses for you getting, as long as it's being done by somebody who he can use politically to his advantage. And I think that's really disgusting. It's very disgusting to do that.
Ihr freut euch auf den Sommer. Ihr liebt Partnerluft und feiert eure Familienkutsche. Ja, wir wissen, wie ihr tickt und haben alles für euren Sommer. Otto, finde ich gut.
Herzlich willkommen auch an alle, die gerade neu einschalten. Ich hoffe, ihr genießt den eBay-Livestream.
Und ganz viele Kommentare vor allem auch. Na klar habe ich noch mehr Slaps.
Also wirklich, das Holo ist so... 3, 2, 1, eBay Live.
Oh, it's definitely a chickens for KFC moment. I still can't get over how Bro Tips Hassan actually somehow pivoted his entire brand and fooled so many people to become the greatest LARPer of all time. And that's why he's so desperate to hold on to his youth, to his hair, wants to take retatrutide to lose weight, all his chemicals and drugs. He knows that when the looks are gone, it's completely over for him. As basically half his Gooner fan base down the drain, moving on to the next actually younger guy. 35 and counting, Hassan. You're running on low, only got a little bit more left. Who knows, will you fall off first or get arrested or permaban first? One of the three. But yeah, it is a lot of brain damage going on here. The brainwashing goes deep, but hopefully one person at a time will wake up and see the truth. Sometimes it takes 8 months for them to admit that he zapped his dog or used a shock collar. Maybe it'll take decades for them to see that Hassan isn't what he claims to be. As a woman, I'm absolutely disgusted by Hassan for his ideologies, as you should be. So then he responds to the socialists winning in New York.
The Democrat Party is being totally taken over by a bunch of fucking radical communists and socialists. They are leftists now, right? And so this is the new party of the left. They have played footsie with these freaks for 15 years. Ever since Occupy Wall Street, they have completely shifted away from, class warfare and from class issues to identity issues. And this is what the Democrats deserve, because you brought these people into the country. You used all of these race politics issues. You pushed this over and over and over. And now, finally, Dr. Frankenstein's monster is attacking you. You have won and lost in the identity politics game. You have lost your own party because you have achieved your goal. You have effectively created a minority majority of people that prioritize foreign interests, tribal conflicts, ethnic superiority, and other forms of, tribalism over the American rule of law, over the Constitution, and over Western civilization. They've succeeded. They've totally succeeded in that, and it has been their complete undoing. And I think that they deserve every single little bit about it. Successfully failed.
Yeah, I mean, Hassan wonders why right-wingers end up winning when he's literally advocating for the most radical, terrorist-supporting, far-left agenda. Of course, normal people are going to push back on that. Even regular progressives are going to be like, this is a bit too extreme for me. And you might get a few wins here in the sewers, of course, in the mental asylums in Gotham City, in the deranged, insane cult. But at the end of the day, you're kind of ruining any chance for them to win, because the things that you actually desperately want, like free healthcare or affordable groceries or being able to buy a home, these just get pushed further and further when you focus on like foreign issues all the time and then claim, well, actually, I'm an American when it's convenient. But you know what I've learned from covering this drama is that America is a circus. You never know what's going to happen. Hassan is being accepted by these lunatics. It's honestly sad. Hopefully they come to their senses one day, but good luck out there to the Americans watching. Hopefully the legendary series can contribute to restoring some common sense for people who stumble across it. Right, so apparently a streamer is going viral for a gaming crash out. Virtual Gemma crashes out over someone calling her a lady in a video game.
So you're trying to win? Okay, then we're gonna need the two tanks. Don't call me lady, firstly. Secondly, can you jump up with the Angela and actually try to get their healers? Because we're dealing with peeling against the magic. So if you're not peeling, you need to kill their healers. Otherwise, we're just going to be at a complete disadvantage the whole time.
Why don't you respond to what I just said?
Because you insulted me by saying lady. I didn't insult you by saying little boy, did I? Okay, little boy. Let's talk.
Did I call you little girl?
Why did you call me lady?
What do you mean? Have you heard your tone? What are you talking about insulting?
Because I'm asking my tank to TP? Are you that sensitive?
Cut it out. Cut it out.
My tone is a problem because I'm asking my tank to TP?
And me calling you lady?
You're crazy, dude.
You're insane. Like what?
Fucking hell, these people.
Right. I mean, poor you. Heaven forbid you get called a lady. That's basically a slur at this point, right? That's what we've come to at this point. And the actual irony of her calling someone sensitive while literally being mad at being called a lady. What the heck? That's not even an insult. I mean, I would understand if he said something like bitch or whatever, something pretty disrespectful, or, something specifically to piss you off. But even then, it's a video game. Just roast him back. Call him an incel or some shit like that, right? Like, everybody knows it's part of the gaming experience at this point, especially online games, to just talk shit. But I don't see how lady is a problem. I guess everything is a problem now. You can't say woman because you don't get to point out that she's a woman, right? This is a inclusive space. She should be treated just like a man. So don't even point out that she's a woman. Lady is not allowed. Girl is infantilizing her, apparently, or something. So you need to actually call her by her name. You need to mind read her name and call her that instead. I swear to God, lady was supposed to be respectful. Isn't it used to be respectful? Right, here's the definition. A polite or formal term for a woman. Often implies refined manners, dignity, and grace. Can also refer to women of high social standing. So, basically everything about it is a positive thing. Used when addressing or referring to a female respectfully. Now, I mean, obviously the tone probably wasn't a compliment, but nothing to really get pissy about. Honestly, if you haven't been called a slur, you're probably...
All right, so Wall Street is in full panic mode today as the stocks continue their sell-off. And let me show you guys what's going on. This is then Bloomberg headline, stocks slide as Wall Street gets AI wake-up call, right? It's wake-up call time. And this is actually global. U.S. chip stocks plunge as AI sell-off ripples across from Asia. As I told you guys before yesterday, here in Korea, the markets were down 10%. And they were selling off so much, they actually had to freeze the markets for a period because it was too insane. And then the bigger names, it was Samsung and Hynix down 12%. And that was in one day. So we'll see how today brings. But it spread across to the U.S. markets as there's a lot of red. NVIDIA down, Broadcom, Tesla, Micron was the big loser, 13% down. And again, this is one day. AMD, Intel, Oracle, Palantir, et cetera, and even Google and Apple, which we'll get into. We have the best community on the planet, on the internet. And this is a comment from our community. It says, explain it to a 9-year-old, right? What's going on? Well, Johnny, when mommy and daddy love each other, mommy trusts daddy with all their money. Okay. But unfortunately, daddy is an idiot and puts all the family's money into SpaceX. He buys the top and hodls. The stock drops like a stone. And because he used leverage, he lost all the money and had to sell the house. But it wasn't nearly enough. And that's why we live in a van outside Walmart in the parking lot, and daddy is in jail. The end. So this is a simple explanation of what's going on in the markets, is essentially borrowed too much money and too much trust in daddy, I guess. So be careful out there, guys, and I'll see you at the Walmart parking lot, I guess. This is also going on then. Stock market today, tech slides deepen as AI fears get worse. And what's interesting is you're going to actually see live on TV people on Wall Street panicking. So watch this for yourself, and I want to hear your thoughts.
In any way concerning? Is it emblematic of something? What do you think's going on there? And the mega cap, the other mega caps, because it's now a mega cap, are kind of uneasy also.
Yeah, I don't know. It's very hard for me to use historical data and have any confidence about what a sell-off in SpaceX means. I think it's just digesting the IPO and all the allocations that went to it, and people making profits off the initial, a price action. I think the bigger issue is maybe the Google talent departure and some thoughts about sustainability. Look,
that stock's down 6%, by the way. You don't see these kind of moves all that often, right? They're 6% for an Alphabet's a
it's a lot.
Move, $20.
It's a lot, and especially when you add the market cap, factor. But I think when if I tell you what institutional investors, what stock they like the most in the grade 8, it probably was Google. Coming in, I think it was probably the most popular one to own. I think most people would say, well, I get NVIDIA is well positioned and it's cheap. Google seems like they win no matter what. So I think those two were certainly the ones I hear the most, and the most retail names, the least institution, were probably Apple and Tesla. So when you get negative news on Google, I get it. It probably, people getting a little more nervous,
What do you think? I mean, was the SpaceX IP?
You can just see the look on his face. Yeah, when those stocks that I hear my friends have, like Google and Apple, and they go down 6% in a day, and people get nervous. But I hear it's from a friend, right? and this is like the kind of stuff they were talking about all day. It was kind of crazy. And basically, what these guys' jobs are is to manage other people's money, right? And then they have to always stay calm. Because at the moment, also, these kind of funds and such, they're getting a lot of requests where people want their money back. And they're like saying, no, you can't have your money back. And so then they got to justify why they're not giving the money back and how things are all going to go to the moon. It's kind of insane. And this is essentially the culture, right? It's all the facade. Let's take a look at another guy, what he says.
PO.
Wouldn't it be nice if we were older in the kind of world where we belong? Where we could say goodnight and stay together.
Vier auf einen Streich, spektakulär, wie er sich da durchkombiniert. Hält die Linie, bleibt stabil und er zieht es tatsächlich durch. Kein Becher ist gefallen. Wahnsinn, mit dem 5-fachen optischen Zoom des Xiaomi 17T Pro sieht man echte Momente.
And the pop off the IPO and the difficulty, if not inability, to really value the company. Was that a sign of something, like a peak of speculative reach? that's now coming back to earth a little bit, or is it all about much ado about nothing? It's just an IPO that's just coming back to earth a little bit.
I think it's a little bit more of the latter, right? It performed well, people made money on it, they're taking profits, we have a little bit of choppy market. Last week, Worst comes in and it comes in pretty hot, that unsettles the market, and so stocks trade, and that's what's happening, right? If you look at the IPO market, if you look at tech, what's working is momentum. And we are still in a momentum market. And if you don't have positive price momentum, then it's very difficult.
What do you think?
And you can see the look on these people's faces, right? And so again, that's their job, is to try to keep people calm. Because literally people are like, hey, I gave you all our money and you said we're all going to make money. And when it was going up, it was fantastic. So what's going on? Oh, well, stocks trade and this is, just momentum and we don't have momentum on our side. So me personally, I do not want that job. I don't want to manage other people's money. I don't want to have to take those phone calls after you lose people's money. It's just not the job that I want. So there's that. So that's what their job is. And then you got basically the news on SpaceX, because everyone's because basically how it works is you may have some dude call you up and yo, I heard about the SpaceX thing. Can we get in early? Oh, I want to get in SpaceX. And the money manager's like, okay, how much you want? And they get their fees, that's essentially what there is. And then if the deal doesn't work out, they still get their fees, but then you got to explain it to clients why you can't give the money back. So that. This is a headline then from Financial Times. SpaceX pitches investors juicy yields in $25 billion bond deal. So first I heard it was $20 billion, but I guess they upped it to $25 billion because evidently people want to buy these things. And in fact, he's paying higher rates than comparable companies. It says here, SpaceX is set to pay interest rates above those of companies with similar credit profiles. So basically, this whole thing is costing you more than, again, other companies. In an upsized $25 billion bond offering, and again, this is after your IPO, you're now, I guess, borrowing more, underscoring how investors are demanding a hefty premium to bankroll Elon Musk's rocket and AI bets. Another way you could read this is that this is a bailout of Elon Musk's Twitter deal, right? So first he did the Twitter thing, paid way over too much for this thing. Then he chased away advertisers. Then he said, okay, I'm going to start my own AI company called the XAI, folded XAI into Twitter. And then he put the Twitter XAI thing into SpaceX. Then he's borrowing to bail that out, right? And they're going to IPO to bail that out. And then everyone's like, hey, can you bring in Tesla to the fold to bail out Tesla? The whole thing is ridiculous, but this is what it is. And then again, now you're doing this at higher rates. So there's that. Take a look at some description of how we're valuing SpaceX. This is coming in from Bloomberg.
So, Pierre, what do you think is the reason for the underperformance over the past couple of sessions, albeit still above where it first traded or where it was first sold, and albeit still above or just around $2 trillion?
Yes, exactly. So I think the initial reaction of the market was very positive. There was a lot of demand for the stock. Everybody wants to participate to this dream. What a beautiful story. This is space exploration. This is throwing data centers in orbit. And these two things, really, space exploration, throwing the data centers in orbit, are 2/3 of what makes that stock worth close to $2 trillion, or take the valuation above $2 trillion. And only 1/3 of the stock in the way we value the company really relates to much more tangible and near-term businesses, which are basically Starlink, the telecom business. So you look at sentiment on AI. These days, I think investors are concerned. They are hearing about companies blowing up their token budget and reining back on AI spending. So there is a negative, a cautious AI trade around that probably weighs on the stock. And then, approaching very almost exceeding $3 trillion at some point in valuation, of course, triggers profit taking because.
Okay, so if you can understand what he's saying, and actually this guy, I think his name is Pierre. He's one of the Elon fluffer on Wall Street, and he's one of the analysts that Tesla always routinely invites there. And usually if you're invited by Tesla, you have to ask nice questions. But it's interesting on Bloomberg, though, what he's basically saying is that if valuing SpaceX, 1/3 of the valuation, how much you value the company, is based on an actual business, right? Starlink, et cetera, right? Actual, tangible business. Then 2/3 of the valuation is basically pipe dreams, space data centers, Mars, et cetera, right? That kind of stuff. And then this is what they're talking about. So he's at least being a little bit honest on this one. 2/3 hopes and dreams, 1/3 actual numbers here.
SK Hynix and Samsung. This comes at a time when last week, Apple said they were raising prices because of, quote, unsustainable memory shortage. Then why are these companies lower?
That's a very good question. That's where the market is being smart. When you hear Apple complaining basically about memory pricing and saying, well, I'll have to increase the price of my iPhone because memory prices are too high, what does that mean? That means they're going to destroy demand. They're increasing the price of iPhones. Less people are going to be able to buy iPhones, and that's going to reduce memory demand. And so memory as a business overall remains what it is. You have a certain amount of production capacity. If you have more demand, prices go through the roof, and if you have less demand, prices collapse. And even if you have like this very strong demand from AI, you still have like a very, very large portion, nearly half memory demand in volume still comes from PCs, smartphones, the broader like data center and compute demand. And if you have memory destruction in these markets, there is a risk that we see like a pause in the very, very high pricing environments that we see at.
Here in Korea, the news has been all along. It's like, oh my God, Hynix and Samsung are making tons of cash. They can, charge premiums for all of their chips and memory and these kind of things, right? So Korean market's been going to the moon. And then Apple recently said, hey, we're gonna have to raise prices because said stuff is like too expensive, and the demand is high right now for these kind of things, be it your AI and all the devices that use, the chips and memories and stuff like that. And then he's making the case that ultimately though, basically people run out of money effectively, right? Be it consumers or AI or whatever. The prices get so high that it kills demand. You just can't pay any more. And so then ultimately the market then would come back to reality. That would be the idea. And I think this is also interesting because iPhone, they're gonna be announcing, or Apple, new phones this fall and then new phones next year. And we'll see where the pricing comes in at because they're gonna introduce new products. I think it's the Foldy phone for Apple. The first one will be this year, and then next year will be their iPhone 20th anniversary, which, full disclosure, my wife and I were talking about, we're probably gonna wait till next year if we're gonna get a new phone, because you need one eventually. We've waited a long time. We're on the 13s, I've told you guys before, I literally have it right here. And it just, your phone starts to get old. I mean, we got this like 4 or 5 years ago, but you don't have to, renew your phone quite so often, because phones are actually pretty good these days. But yeah, eventually I'd like to get one, but if the price comes in, way too much, you're just like, okay, I'm just gonna hold my current one as long as I can. The same way with your car. If new car prices are way too high, you just keep waiting, and again, that destroys demand. Prices too high destroy demand.
It would have been mostly an institutional business. Basically, there's laws that private companies, shorts, hedge funds, you have to be more or less a accredited or institutional investor.
Right.
Because there's more risk. And so with more risk, you're supposed to have more financial literacy. First of all, I find that offending. Why is it that we think that institutions are more financially literate, maybe than retail investors? I'm not sure that's true. I believe in the wisdom of the crowd. But there's things such as leverage and stuff. I think that's changing. I think the current administration is improving this. So for us, we started this new fund that basically allows us to offer publics and privates with some restrictions. And I do think that in the future, and this is one of the reasons why private markets are so big, private markets in debt became very big precisely because in my mind, the public markets in debt, they were too.
Okay, so he's talking about multiple things, but I just want to get a flavor of it. Basically, he's like, hey guys, I got this new fund, and the Trump administration is making it easier for us to get people's money, and I promise we're going to manage your money, and I promise we're going to manage debt, and we're all going to be rich, right? And essentially, that's kind of what we're talking about here. And it's kind of interesting where he's saying like, hey, before we thought only institutions can make decisions, but that's boring. They only want to do index funds. In fact, we think retail investors are really, really smart, and they know how to manage their money and take risk, and we're going to help them do that. So that's the argument that he's making, basically. And what's interesting about this then is there's going to be more opportunities with the Trump administration, and this is then why Zuckerberg is hanging out with the Trumpers these days. You can see it right here. Meta is building prediction markets app. Okay, these stocks fell in response. So Meta, basically Facebook, I guess you're going to be able to bet on stuff over there. That's their new business model, be it bet on the weather, be it bet on whether or not Trump's going to invade, Iran, any number of things. Like if you want to bet on, how much money Elon Musk's going to have by the end of the year. People bet on all sorts of crazy crap over there. And then Meta wants in on that pie. They'll read the description, you get a sense of it. It's kind of like Disneyland, essentially. The Times report said Meta's app would rely on video game style point system. Okay, video game style points, but that money may be used on the app in the future. 2 employees with knowledge of the plans told the Times they referred to the app as Arena. So that's what we're calling it. Video game style points and Arena. And then we'll be separate from the Meta social media platform, Instagram and Facebook. So we're doing like yet another app maybe. But basically, Zuckerberg's trying to cash in on this gambling effectively. And I think that's what our markets are turning into. That's why I showed you guys the more formal version of, hey, we think retail investors are smart. And so, by the way, I got this new fund, and you're going to get in on the highest and most exciting things early. So please give me all your money. I swear we're going to make money. So that's what's going on. I'd like to hear your thoughts on everything. And do appreciate your time, and I'll catch you all in the next video.
Die Organics von Red Bull. Natürliche Erfrischung für jeden Geschmack. Simply Cola, Fizzy Peach und jetzt neu. Minty Blackberry. Schon probiert?
Release the Epstein file.